And now coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of snowy American flyover country. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower under the radar. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, over the top. And today will be no exception. We are looking at the Vatican secret rules for Catholic priests to have children. And I have lovingly entitled it, Who's Your Daddy? Gives it a whole different idea to the word father, doesn't it? Who knew that so many fathers were fathers? I don't mean to be frivolous. I don't mean to be silly about it, but sometimes you laugh to keep from crying, and there's some very real suffering that's going on, and some very real heartache that's going on, and some very real and horrid hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen. In the New York Times, USA Today, many outlets reporting that the Vatican has admitted, ladies and gentlemen, officially, that they do have a secret rule book for dealing with priests who have children. Now, this is a little bit problematic because, in case you didn't know, Catholic priests have an exclusive and a ubiquitous, that means it's there everywhere, vow of celibacy. They are not allowed to have sexual relations, even with themselves, much less other people. So for Catholic priests, not only to have sex with other people, but to have children with other people, and for the church, ladies and gentlemen, to actually have a rule book for how to deal with this, well, it absolutely beggars description, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Times opens their story about a man named Vincent Doyle, who was a psychotherapist in Ireland. Think of that. He was 28 when he learned from his mother that his Roman Catholic godfather priest was actually his Roman Catholic priest biological father. And as this psychotherapist went on to discover, he found out that there was enough children of priests like him that he could create a global support group for people suffering from the internalized shame that comes with being born from church scandal. He pressed the bishops to acknowledge these children. The church leaders told them that he was the product of the rarest of transgressions. I don't know how true that is, but one archbishop finally showed him a document of Vatican guidelines that show how to deal with priests who father children. He asked for the document. He was told that it was secret. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as the Vatican prepares for an unprecedented meeting with the world's bishops to talk about the devastating child abuse crisis, but they've already decided there's no solution. If you look at my show from a few days ago, they've already decided there's no solution. The fix is in. They have no intention of fixing this problem because, frankly, they don't think it's a problem. They think getting caught doing it is the problem. At any rate, just ahead of this supposedly big meeting, the Vatican has confirmed for the first time that it has a department that oversees the world's priests and that it has general guidelines for what to do when clerics break their celibacy vows and father children. I quote, I can confirm that these guidelines exist. Vatican spokesman Alessandro Giusotti wrote in response to a query, that's a question, from the New York Times. And he adds, it is, quote, an internal document, unquote. Mr. Doyle himself, a product of a relationship with a priest, says it's the next scandal. The kids are everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we have already chronicled the horrific abuse that is directed towards boys within the Catholic Church from male priests. Now we see, ladies and gentlemen, that there is also horrific abuse being directed towards women by Catholic priests. And as we will see next Monday on The Last Stand, we will have a former Catholic nun who will talk about, who will confirm, and will inform us about ritualistic abuse by priests of nuns within the monastery, within the convent system, ladies and gentlemen. The Catholic Church, some 11 to 12% of its priests conservatively abusing male children. Now, who knows how many abusing women? Makes me cough. Now, who knows how many abusing nuns? Ladies and gentlemen, the fact is inescapable that the Roman Catholic Church is a ritualistically abusive organization. And I've also shown you that Roman Protestantism is habitually, ritualistically abusive to women and children across the board, from the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons to the Southern Baptists and the Catholics. Abrahamic religion majors in abusing minors. As Nigel Worsley says in the chat room, it's twistianity, ladies and gentlemen. And may I speak freely, because I really don't care if Catholic priests have marital relations with women. I think it'd be a good idea. I think that if you allowed Catholic priests to have wives, you probably would cut way down on the abuse going on, potentially. Don't have any problem with that. I don't even have a problem with Catholic priests having sex with other Catholic priests if that's what they want to do. I really don't care. The hypocrisy bothers me a little bit, but I'm not a Catholic. I know that the most hypocritical place in the world is probably church, so it doesn't surprise me. But what bothers me, what gets me incensed, well, the hypocrisy does bother me, but not the hypocrisy from the priesthood, not the hypocrisy from the preachers that are preaching against these things and doing them. The real hypocrisy that bugs me is you people that continue to go there and give them your money and give them your time and keep them alive by your presence. You're the real hypocrites. You know this is happening and you still go. Shame on you. You're the real person of real shame by knowing this and supporting this and continuing to show up week after week after week after week. But here's the thing that really bothers me in regards to the ritualistic, habitual clerical abuse of women and children in the Abrahamic churches. Well, at least let's say for sure that we know Roman Catholicism and Roman Protestantism. Number one, Jesus said that pure religion, undefiled, is to take care of the widows, to take care of the fatherless, to look after those women in need, to look after those children in need. And instead, they breed those in need. They abuse those in need. And that bothers me. And what also bothers me is the abuse of power. They are using their authority, they are using their power over people to manipulate women and children into compromising sexual situations. And this is despicable. This is inexcusable. But there's only one way that it will stop. And I don't care how many meetings the Pope has. I don't care how many times they gather the world's bishops. None of this ever stops until you stop going to Mass. until you stop paying your tithes, until you stop giving your offerings. None of this ends until you stop going to church, until you stop paying your tithes, until you stop giving your offerings. None of this stops until you stand up and say, enough is enough. Because as long as you empower them, as long as you enable them, they will continue to molest and rape your sons, your brothers. They will continue to molest your daughters, your sisters, and your mothers. And at the end of the day, if you're still showing up in a Roman Catholic or a Roman Protestant church, if you want to know who's to blame, look in the mirror. You are the man. You are the woman. By your presence, by your money, you enable these monsters to continue doing what they do. Stop going, stop paying, and they will stop playing, because there won't be anybody to play with anymore. And they can become an incestuous bunch, and they can abuse each other until they are satisfied. Let them have their own little convocation. Let me just leave you with a question. What's it going to take? Ritualistic, habitual abuse of boys by priests wasn't enough for you? Ritualistic abuse of women, is that enough for you? Ritualistic abuse of nuns, will that be enough for you? What's it going to take to break your Stockholm syndrome? What's it going to take for you to stop supporting organized institutional pedophilia in the name of the little g God of the Bible? Bought, paid for, subsidized, and legitimized by you. Every person that darkens the door of a Roman Catholic or a Roman Protestant church. Shame on you. Do something about it. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru, encouraging you to take responsibility and stop supporting institutionalized, ritualistic evil perpetrated upon the most helpless of our society. Look yourself in the mirror, ask the tough questions, question the answers. And at the end of the day, only you can stop this. And only you can unindoctrinate yourself.